Alrighty, morning everyone, and welcome back to another beautiful video on this beautiful channel on another beautiful day. Silver might be getting replaced. Some of you are probably very confused about that statement right now, but that's actually something that has been going around in circles across the internet for quite some time now. And there is some truth to that. That's why I put it in the title and the thumbnail. So yeah, why would I put something that doesn't have any truth to it? There actually is a reasonable argument to silver getting replaced in some industries. Not in all of them, because that's impossible at this point in time, but there is one major one that might have some issues in the future with silver consumption, and that is the solar industry. You know what that is, right? You know, production of solar panels and stuff like that. Pretty much everyone knows what that is. So, and why is that such a big issue? Now, you see, the production of solar panels uses a lot of silver. So much so that in a couple of years, the production of solar panels, if it continues to go up like it has been going up over the last couple of years, that production would actually surpass the amount of silver that we produce right now. Not only the solar panel industry, but all industries together. And with the solar panel industry growing at the pace that it is right now, we only produced approximately 1,000 tons excess last year. Keep that in mind. That would surpass that reasonably quickly. Why is that? Because the solar industry uses up as much as 20% of the amount of silver that is produced every year. That is a lot of silver. And the amount of new solar panels installed actually rose by approximately 35% from 2020 to 2021. That is a very fast growing industry, and I think it's not really slowing down into 2022. I could be wrong about that, but I guess we'll only see about that at the end of the year. But that is a lot. That is a lot of silver. Just keep in mind, every solar panel, uses 20 grams of silver. So if you've got 20 solar panels on your roof, well, that would be almost half a kilo of silver. And how many people do you know that have solar panels? Go ahead, take a walk through your local city and just count them. There is a lot of silver out there. A lot. And yes, it is true that number drastically decreased over the last couple of years. But that is not because people just randomly started to not like the silver in there anymore. It's because they realized that there's just not enough of it out there to, produce all of these solar panels that you would need to power the world with solar energy. Now, you could actually do that. It would be reasonably easy. You would need a landmass that is about as big as Spain to do that. Now, there are a lot of very big deserts in this world that we don't need for anything, so you could put solar panels there. That is possible. Now, of course, there are some difficulties with that, because deserts are very harsh environments and solar panels don't last as long there, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to get into that today. There are a lot of difficulties with solar panels and a lot of issues with them as well, because they are new technology, and that's pretty much the case with every single new technology. But yeah, it would definitely be possible, and it would not be so terrible. And you got to think about it this way. Houses stand around everywhere. If you just put a few solar panels on each and every one, you don't even need to go into the deserts, because every house can just produce its own electricity. That's kind of neat, in my opinion. But of course, there are a lot of difficulties with those panels. They are not very easy to recycle. Some things can't even be recycled at this point. I hope that changes in the future, because I don't like that fact. And obviously, the storage of the electricity is also not optimal with these lithium batteries that are just not great. I mean, everyone pretty much knows that. It's very hard to recycle that, and most of them just go into the landfill, which is not where they're supposed to go. But regardless of that, moving back to silver, it is not possible to grow on that rate of silver consumption with solar panels and just continue to produce them in this way and just use silver for that in the future. You can't. It's impossible. There is not enough silver out there to use for that. You can't produce enough solar panels with that. So at this point, it's only reasonable to find a solution for that, because there just is not enough silver in this planet to produce that many solar panels with, or at least not in the reasonable reserves of this planet. Of course, you could scrape it out of whatever, the Earth's crust until you reach the gooey orange stuff, but I wouldn't suggest that because that's a very bad idea. So, in my opinion, and in many other people's opinion, that is the main reason why silver will be replaced in that industry at some point. What will it be replaced for? Probably copper, because there's just a crap ton of copper on this planet, and you can just, copper is a very, very good conductor. It's just nowhere near as good as silver. So that's the problem, and that's why we use silver at the moment. And that's why, just for a little fun fact, that's why copper is never ever going to be a better material for solar panels than silver. So what I actually think is reasonable to assume is that not all solar panels are going to be produced with copper in the future, but only the a little bit cheaper, more inexpensive ones will be, because copper, it works, and there are some new technologies that might suggest that it might come close to or even surpass the productivity of the silver solar panels, but that's just right now. Right? If we don't continue to research silver solar panels, then of course copper will get better at some point. But if you put the same amount of research into both, silver will always be better because it's just such a good conductor in comparison to copper. And copper is a great conductor. I mean, even gold is a pretty good conductor, but I mean, we all know that gold is not going to be used for that. So copper is really like the only reasonable choice. There are some newer kinds of innovations and stuff like that with carbon. I'm not sure how realistic that is gonna be. I don't know, but copper is definitely very realistic. Works very well for that. Just not as good as silver at this moment. It could in the future, but silver is always going to be a better metal for that purpose. And now let's get back to the main point. There is just not enough silver. Definitely not at the price that we are at right now. Like, you can't increase production of silver at this price that we are at right now. It's impossible. It is completely impossible to increase the production. Like, many very big silver producers all over the world are already producing at a loss. You got to think about that, right? Because the price of silver has dropped over the last couple of months. They are producing at a loss. That is not good, right? That is just not a good thing. It's a good thing for the price maybe in the future, because demand is definitely going to increase, and supply not so much. So that's probably a very good sign for the price, but it's just not a good sign for the solar industry, and that's why they have to do something about it. And whether we like it or not, they will replace silver, because I will say it again, there's just not a lot of it out there. Silver is a very rare metal, not in comparison to gold or platinum, but in general a very rare metal, and even rarer in comparison to its uses. It's got so many uses, it's incredible, and it's impossible to replace it in many of those, and we need all of them. We need all of those uses, right? We can't just say, oh yeah, well, we don't really need that anymore, or this anymore, or whatever, so that the solar industry can just continue producing their solar panels. No, we need all of those other applications. So we can't just say, yeah, we'll give it to the solar industry. It's not possible. So they will have to find a solution for that. And I don't really actually think that it's such a terrible thing for silver, because what did we have over the last couple of years with silver? Extreme manipulation. Why do we have that? Well, because the price of silver is supposed to be low. I don't know why it's supposed to be low. No one told me, and no one will ever tell anyone. We can all just assume why and kind of guess our way around. But in general, the manipulation is not going to get better by some industry being pressured into doing something, right? That is just not how it works. That is usually the kind of scenario where manipulation gets worse. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Demand is definitely going to increase for silver until it gets replaced with that. And even after that, because as I said, I don't think that they will replace it completely. And even if they will, when that time comes, all of these other industries are going to have to increase their production as well. If the demand for solar panels increases, it's very likely that the demand for all kinds of other electronic stuff and all kinds of other stuff that silver is used in is also going to increase. So I see it. I definitely see the argument, and I agree with it, that some people make the argument that silver will be replaced in the solar industry. It will. That is definitely correct. In my opinion, that is definitely going to happen. But I don't think that it's going to be such a terrible thing as some people say. I really don't think so. So yeah, that's pretty much just my take on that. Let me know what your opinion is. I'd be very interested in hearing what you think about that. And so, yeah, if you want to, you can comment something. If you've got a question, I'd be very happy to answer that. As always, if you want to, you can also rate the video with like a thumbs up or a thumbs down, whatever you might want to do. And please consider subscribing to the channel because that would make me very happy. So yeah, thank you very much. Have a fantastic week and until next time.